record. Hi, my name's Christina. How are you doing?
Good. My name's Susan, and I just thought I would come in and talk to you about some issues that I have going on at home.
All right, what kind of issues are you having?
Well, I'm relatively new to sobriety, and I've been having issues at home with my family not trusting me and constantly throwing my past in my face. They're not realizing that I've changed and I'm clean and I'm capable of being trusted now.
Okay, how long have you been sober for?
I just had my 6-month anniversary.
Okay, so 6 months of sobriety. Did you go through any programs or anything like that? Did you do any therapy, or what are you doing right now to keep your sobriety going?
I'm currently taking IOP classes,
Okay,
and I'm also doing some relapse prevention. I'm working with a, a one-on-one counselor with getting stabilized on some medication. And I also try to go to meetings as often as I can.
okay, so it sounds like you're working really hard to kind of show the effort that you're wanting to build that trust back. But let me ask you, what does trust mean to you?
Um, I guess what it means to me is like they believe me when I say I'm going to do something, that they believe what I'm going to say. You know, that they believe that I'm going to follow through.
Okay, and have you been following through on your actions?
Yeah, lately I have been. I've been, I would say I've been pretty good at like following through with going to my meetings and like being responsible, like paying off tickets, um, just things like that. I think I have been. You know, they just are constantly, um, they just are reminding me of things I've done in the past.
Okay. Have you actually had a conversation with them about that? Have you been able to sit down and be like, this is how I feel at this moment, that you keep bringing up stuff from my past?
Um, well, I wouldn't say it's necessarily a conversation. I would say it's more like kind of in the heat of the moment type thing where like it'll be kind of offensive. They'll get up to go to the restroom and they'll take their purse with them, or they'll lock the car and then I'll say something about it and then it just kind of blows up, like, you know, like I'll call them out on it, and yeah, that's kind of how it goes. So it
Okay.
hasn't really been a conversation, it's been more of like arguments.
Okay. So trust is a tricky thing. Trust can be broken down to several different parts of it. And like one of the ones that you're talking about is the part of being of reliability. You know, you've been 6 months sober, but before that, those actions have not demonstrated reliability. And what I mean by reliability is that we do the same things that we say we're going to do over and over and over again. And for some people, that just takes a lot of time. I mean, how long were you in active use?
Oh, total
Hmm.
or just this last time?
Total.
I actively used for 5 or 6 years total, but I did have breaks of sobriety in between.
Okay. But 5 or 6 years, that's a long time to use. And then there's so many behaviors that happen when we do use, right? So there's the lying, there's the manipulating, and all those different behaviors that you're working on right now to kind of mend and make better. But that doesn't happen overnight. So all those 5 years is still a lot of the pain that your parents and your family is still feeling. So that's why they're exhibiting this like behavior with you, where they're taking their purse to the bathroom or where they're locking the car, because they haven't. 6 months is nothing compared to the 5 years that you were in active use. They need to see more reliability from you and to continue to see those actions.
Yeah, I just find it really like offensive, and they're not like supporting me um like how I am right now, as opposed to um how I was. So it's really hurtful, and it causes a lot of arguments, um and it just feels like like they just can't let it go, and they also like another trust thing that they do is like I'll say I'm going to go to a meeting, and then when I get back they'll say, oh well, you were gone for 2 hours, the meeting was only an hour, what were you doing?
Mm-hmm.
They also do that kind of stuff to me, so that's really hurtful.
Yeah. Have they gone to Al-Anon meetings or anything like that?
uh no, they're embarrassed to go.
Mm-hmm.
They're ashamed of me even using or have any substance use issues, and they're afraid that they would run into somebody they know if they went. So no, they don't go.
Okay. I think it's worth having that conversation, or even having a conversation of opening up family therapy options. And I can provide you with a list of good therapists in the area that would do family therapy. That way it's not necessarily Al-Anon, so they may be more receptive to going. But I think it is important to have that conversation of how you feel, being able to say, these actions do hurt me. And while I do understand that it takes time to build trust, I'm trying to show you all these efforts. What else? Where am I lacking in that building of trust? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. It's just like I don't know, just 6 months seems like a long time to prove that I'm serious this time. And like I'm an adult, I should be able to make friends or go out and do something, and not be questioned or accused of doing something, or even like the subtle things like locking the car, or you know not letting me see how much money's in their bank account, and you know just hiding it you know
Again, we have to look at, you had 5 years that you were actively using. Yes, you had time in between that you had sobriety time, but that's 5 years to 6 months. Put yourself in their shoes. What would it take for you to regain trust? If you were your parents in that situation, knowing everything that you've done in 5 years of active use, would you be able to say that 6 months was actually enough time to regain that trust? I mean, honestly, really think about that.
yeah. I would say so, but this is the longest that I've ever
Mhm.
been clean this time. So I just feel like by showing them that this time I'm actually doing it, and I've built a support system. I've gotten on some medications that have helped me stabilize with like my anxiety and depression. um so I just feel like there's a lot that I've done that has changed this time,
Mhm.
and so yeah. Oh, there goes the
Sorry.
sorry timer. um so yeah, it's 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 just really frustrating, just it
Yeah.
just feels hurt. But yeah, I see the points that you're making, and like what you're saying, but it's still really hurtful.
Yeah, and it is. Building trust is not easy. It's never meant to be easy. And so it does take a lot of time. How about for this week, how about have that conversation with your parents about going to family therapy together? That way you have a safe place to have those conversations, and so they don't explode into these arguments that you've been having. I'll provide you with the list, and then how about next week you come back and we'll talk about how that went for you.
Sure, that would be great.
All right, sounds good. I will see you next week then.
Okay, thanks.
Bye.
Bye.